Through a Scottish Prism, the programme that is unapologetically pro-Scottish independence and anti-Westminster rule. Everything we say here is viewed through a Scottish Prism. Brought to you by Barhead Boy.
Hi folks, and welcome back to Through a Scottish Prism. Nice to have you again. Been a week since we last spoke, so you know the old phrase, means we're a week nearer independence. And I tell you, the way things have been cranking up this week, I think it's even closer. As I said last week, that a lot of people really realise. And we'll come on to the Growth Commission and a few of those things later, but this week's going to be slightly different. And this is also going to be a wee bit of a travelogue, because the Scottish Prism is on tour. And I'm talking to you today from Szczecin in the northwest of Poland. And it was quite telling for me when I made this journey here. I came yesterday, I left Barcelona, and you get through security, and everything you do, security very quickly. We're through into the departure lounge and went to the plane, and there was no passport control because it's part of Schengen. You know, Schengen, which is maligned and decried and made to sound terrible by the Daily Mail and the right-wing press, this horrible thing that would let horrible Johnny foreigners come at will. I found the whole experience completely different. I got on the plane, we flew to Germany, to Berlin, Schönefeld, because that's what we do when we come to this part of Poland. So I flew from Barcelona, no one asked to see my passport. Everyone in the queue was showing either their Spanish ID or their German ID or their Polish IDs. Then when you got to Schönefeld, Berlin airport, there's no passport control, you just walk through and out, and then we got one of those 18-seater, beautiful, modern, small bus, and it drives us. It takes 2 hours, and we drove through to Poland. And when you cross the border, there's no idea yet. I mean, we're in Poland, right? There's no showing of the passport. No, it's just straight through. And then it got me thinking that a year from now, it's not going to be so easy. It will be for me, because I'll be leaving from a Schengen area, going into another Schengen area. The only trouble I'll ever have is when I'm going back from a non-Schengen area into the European Union. Well, at least I expect so. I don't know. Like most of us, I really don't know. But I know that anyone leaving from the United Kingdom, going anywhere now in the European Union, this time next year probably, will have to fill in forms, stand in a different queue. And I think a lot of our Brexiteers, particularly the little Englander ones, who think that there's always exceptionalism for them. They think that Johnny Foreigner's going to have to queue up at Calais, but there'll be no queuing at Dover for. Didn't you know? I'm English. I'm not for me to queue. I'm special, different, and I think a lot of them go to Mallorca, etc. for their holidays, and they've got to stand in queues or fill in a form or pay a fee, and they start getting treated like second-class citizens, the way they want to treat everyone else that's not one of them. When they start getting treated like second-class, because that's what we'll become. When we're out in Brexit, when we're out of the European Union, we'll be second-class citizens to the European Union, and quite rightly too. We decided not to be in the club to leave, and so there'll be a price to pay. And anyone that's telling you there's not a price to pay has been telling you lies. And it's getting closer and closer to the time when the UK's actually got to put up or shut up. We're 2 years after the vote, and we still don't know. We don't have a clue what we're going to do in the customs union, out the customs union. They're going to call it a customs union when it's the same customs union. I listened to a programme there online. Look, the James O'Brien from LBC. He's very good, and he's massively against Brexit, and keeps exposing all these little Englanders. With their stupidity, you know, he asks them questions like, well, name one law you want to bring back. Of course they don't know. All these sort of things. But he had a guy on who has a transport business who's terrified for the future, you know, talking about, you know, the cost of business is going to go through the roof, and how it's going to be days on end. They're going to lose 2 or 3 days of every week by being in customs queues on both sides of the channel, and he worries for his business and livelihood. And that's all coming down the line. But we do have a parachute, and we've got to, I think it's time to pull that ripcord for what it's worth, and get out. But here we are, as I said, in sunny Poland. It's very warm here. It's even warmer than it is in Catalonia. And because it's not at the coast, it's almost an oppressive heat, but wonderful. And for those of you who have not been to Poland, I would urge you to try it for one of these long weekends or whatever. Wonderful place. I know everyone likes to go to the Western Union, like Paris or France, somewhere in France or Holland, and go to Amsterdam, etc. But you should give Poland a shot. Lots of lovely places. Any you want to, send me an email. I'll tell you some great places to go. Great places. But anyway, so the Growth Commission come out. Now I'm still ploughing through it, but it looks fantastic to me, and it's not given, although not that would stop them, it's not given the union as many targets, which the way the white paper did. But we noticed that 5 days before the Growth Commission come out, that they were already firing, oh, it's rotten, it's terrible, it's shocking, doom, gloom. Maurice Golden went to the BBC, who, they joined it in to even give him a platform to tell, well, this currency idea is terrible. And no one in the BBC said, well, what is their currency idea, Maurice? To which he would have had to reply, well, I don't know, I haven't read the document yet, but it's rotten anyway. I mean, if the SNP found a cure for cancer, the unionists were saying, oh, it's terrible, look at all these ornithologists that are out of work. Or if it was Annie Wells, she'd be saying ornithologist probably. Oh God, wouldn't she? What was she like? Isn't it pathetic? Anyway, Maurice Golden, he was given it big licks about how it would be terrible. It wouldn't. The country would be doomed and gloomed. And that was 5 days in, and then 4 days in, there was a big conference down in London. We mustn't talk about the Constitution. Stop. You go on with the day job. And Darling, Davidson, Gove, and my old pal Jimmy Murphy, who incidentally is not a unionist. I urge him. Were at a Save the Union do down and talking about how bad it was, and Darling saying he didn't think there'd be another referendum in his lifetime. Well, I was sorry to hear he wasn't well. I didn't even know he was ill. If he thinks there's not going to be one in his lifetime, but there you go. Talking about what they want as opposed to more the reality. But that's the problem with unions. They do talk about what they want and the world they think exists rather than the reality of the world, and that's one of the biggest problems going. 3 days before the currency union came out, Mark Carney, the man at the Bank of England, suddenly started talking about a currency union and how it would be possible, and it was a political decision, it would be a good idea, blah, blah, blah. And you think, well, how come? It's not been mentioned since the referendum in 2014, and suddenly Mark Carney gets a question that allows him to throw this out into the stratosphere to allow people to discuss it, just 3 days before the SNP are about to issue their Growth Commission, which has been heavily rumoured to have a new currency option. But they suddenly, we said to you in 2014 it wasn't good, but now we've changed our mind, and actually we think it's a good idea. I bet you do. It's as good an idea now as it was then, but this time, guys, we ain't playing. You've burnt that bridge. And then when it got 2 days to go, the Telegraph came out with it. We're going to have a 300 billion. You need 300 billion of foreign reserves, or you can't have your own currency. Scotland was to be unique again in all of the world. You know how our baby boxes are the only ones in the world which are rotten, and the only cardboard boxes in the world that go and fire. Apparently, other baby boxes, and whether it be in England or Finland or America, they don't go and fire. They're not a danger. It's just the Scottish ones that are a danger. SNP ones, they're bad. But apparently, Scotland is to be the only country in the entire world that needs to have all of its assets, everything, covered by foreign currency reserves. No other country in the world has this, but Professor Ronald McDonald, he should stick to his hamburgers and get his French fries fixed or rotten, rather than making comments about economics, because obviously he must be the same guy because he knows nothing about economics. If you look at, we have to have 100% coverage, whereas you can take the old almost bankrupt 2 trillion in debt UK, they've only got 5.7% of their GDP in foreign currency reserves. You go through the other smaller countries that we should be associated with, like New Zealand, which is 9.6, Sweden 11.96, Denmark 14.75. And at the other end of the scale, if you take Bulgaria, which has got nowhere near the economic strength of economy, resources, universities, industries, technologies that Scotland's got, they're only at 48%, or they're at 48% of their GDP is to in foreign countries. However, Scotland uniquely says, "Oh, Ronald McDonald," and all the unionist doomsayers and naysayers. Scotland needs to have 100%, or you can't do it. Oh, you can't do it. I'm sick of this. You can't do. You can't have. It's just a bloody nonsense, the whole damn thing. And with one day to go on the Thursday at the First Minister's question, Ruthie went into full lick-spittle, frothing British nationalist meltdown, and of course had colluded with her fellow British nationalists in the Parliament. And she was on telling us how we should get on with the day job and fix education. And it just gets me. They pick one wee point and a number, and they try to find something, because at the end of the day, we've said it on here before, the devolved matters that we have just now of education, health, policing, crime, transport are the best in the United Kingdom. By country miles, in every single number you can come up with, in every way you measure it, we're better. But they try and find something, because they can't have anything better than Mother England. They can't have anything good in Scotland. That's just not on. That's not in the narrative, and they won't have it. And they get collusion from a corrupt media. They get collusion from collaborators, is all you can call these British nationalists. And one of them was caught out perfectly, wasn't she? Jenny Mara. Just when you think, Annie Wells must be going, I'm glad you're here, Jenny. And James Kelly, he thinks he's now Brain of Britain listening to these two. But Jenny Mara started giving it big licks and shouting and showing that passion, the Labour passion. How terrible children in Dundee, it's a SNP control, are not getting swimming lessons anymore. What kind of people would take away swimming lessons from kids? Only problem was Dundee haven't done that, but North Lanarkshire, Labour controlled, have. But even when caught out, even when found out, could she have the good grace to go, oh, hands up? No, she was still shouting and pointing and trying to think of something else, because it's always got to be SNP bad. But Ruthie, she went on about education, about hires and biology, and even again, when Nicola gives her the figures, the reality is more kids are coming out of school with more qualifications, higher qualifications, more kids are going to university, more kids are ending up in apprenticeships or in positive outcomes. But no, they still keep coming with it. They still want to paint it bad. And they want to tell this lot, I put out a tweet, I'll repeat it here again, these people giving us, these unionists, who tell us that the best way is to stay in the United Kingdom with a 2 trillion debt, but every industry tells you that it's going down. We've got the lowest pensions in the developed world. I speak as a pensioner. Disgusting pensions. But the pensioners have been, they've been given the propaganda and believed it and brainwashed into, I can lose my pension. We've got the worst pensions in the world. We've got a huge trade deficit. All these things, you don't want to go out on your own. But these are the people, it's like, as I said, it's like getting a lecture on care for the elderly from Dr. Harold Shipman. This lot lost 490 billion overnight because of their Brexit stupidity. Jackson Carlo said, the UK is the best for Scotland. I said, well, give us that positive case for the union. SNP bad. They can't come out with anything. They can't tell us why. We've got the lowest pensions in the world. I mean, I don't know if anyone's aware, but you take Germany or Spain, where I live in Catalonia, Spain pensioners get almost 5 times the pension that we get. 5 times. And over and above that, they get a 3 weeks all-inclusive, all-full board as a pensioner in Spain. We get a 10 quid Christmas bonus. We get a heating allowance, and they get all these different things. But they get like about 500 quid a month, and that's why in Spain, when you go to the cafes and the bars and the shops and the markets, it's the pensioners who are there spending money. They don't put it in Panama. They don't hide it away or squirrel it away. They're spending it and spending it in the local community. So therefore the local shops and bars and cafes need more staff, and the staff pay taxes, and it all helps. And they have this family thing where there is a society in Spain where you hear about it in the weekends, at Saturdays and Sundays, the whole family go to Gran and Grandpa's for the big family meal. They're all there, and there's this sense of community belonging, family together, looking after each other. Because Gran and Grandpa can afford to put on a meal for 10, 15, 20 people because they're getting a decent living wage, they're getting dignity in their old age. Whereas in the United Kingdom, we've got the lowest pension, and yet the pensioners, from our point of view of Scottish independence, is apparently our worst demographic. If only they knew, they'd probably get a chance to get a better pension if we can get the hell away from the British, because they want you picking fruit and vegetables. That was one Tory came up with. Make pensioners pick vegetables to get their entitlement. I do sometimes despair. And happening elsewhere, well, there's lots happening elsewhere. I noticed that there's another 2 Tory councillors being suspended and possibly court action, and more sleaze down in Norwich. I mean, every day there's another Tory, a couple of Tories getting done for sleaze, electoral fraud, illegal lobbying, whatever. And yet they're still in front in the opinion polls in England. Listen, folks, Scotland, we've got to, if you want to get rid of Tories, if you don't have any more Tory rule, then we've got to get out of that union. But here's what I don't understand. You talk about, they want to sell the union to us, but they want to sell the union to us by telling us how shit we are, how nothing we can do, our economy will tank, or we'll not get pensions, you'll not get watching Doctor Who or Strictly Come Dancing. Oh, you can't have this, you can't have that, you can't do this, you can't do that. If they had any sense, why aren't they actually making devolution work so well? Instead of carping from the sidelines every time, telling us what we can't do and telling us how rotten it is, why wouldn't you be promoting, see how good your education is while you're in the union? See how good your health service is while you're in the union. You see how good your crime is, it's the lowest ever because you're in the union. Why not sell us that? If people think, they're right, we're doing all right in this union. We're only doing all right because it's an SNP government, because if it was the Tories at Labour, they would be selling off Scottish Water, selling off the health service, selling the lot. But they're not even wise enough for Ruthie to say, we'll do that. And for Ruthie to turn round to her 13 Scottish Tory MPs and say, you will vote again, I will be in touch with Theresa May and say, Theresa May, get Section 11 and 15 out now, or my guys will vote against you and you'll lose. And then she could come back to Scotland and to Holland and say, this is what I did. This is what us Tories can do. This is the power of the union. We have worked to save this Parliament. We have worked here to make sure democracy stands. And this great devolution, which does give us the best of health, blah, 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 they're not even wise enough to do it. They're so full of hate and bitter. They don't even see the sensible way to campaign to play up devolution, because they want to get rid of it. They want to get rid of it, folks. And if we don't grab the bull by the horns now and take this opportunity and get this referendum and get independence, there will be no Holyrood, there will be no democracy, and we will live in a place full of Tories running at right-wingers who have got no idea. We're about to find out there is a big shock coming down the line when we get out of, when Brexit finally starts hitting. Remember, Brexit hasn't hit, and there's already companies closing up, companies moving into Europe, moving out, job losses. The UK economy's tanked. It's the lowest growth in the whole of the developed world and the lowest in the EU. And there's more shocks coming, and we haven't left yet. The full atrocity that's coming to hit us is still to happen. And the people who are trying to defend this have no alternative. They don't. When this growth commission comes out, now I'm ploughing my way through that like most people, but a lot of it seems sensible to me. The currency, I understand we have to stay in the pound for the short term, but we won't be in a currency union, which is a good idea. I personally would like to see us having our own separate currency, and I don't know where you line that now, a basket of currencies, or whether you line it with the euro, or whether maybe, because as an oil producer in a very wealthy country, maybe we'll look to align our currency with eventually with the krona in Norway. That's maybe the way forward for us. We will be out of the EU, even if Nicola calls the referendum for this year and my preferred option of the autumn of this year. we wouldn't be able to negotiate and get out in time. We will be out of the EU, so the best we could hope for is to go into the EFTA, the EEA, and then Scotland can then decide whether it wants to get back in to the European Union. But we will have no choices if we don't get out. And what was nice in the Growth Commission I liked was that they were talking, although they were saying, we'll just use this date as a thing, as an example, but they've talked about 21-22 to be our first year of independence. Pray God that that's true. So I'm thinking, well, while I want, like so many other people, I'm looking for this independence referendum now. I'd like to see it in the autumn of this year. I'm beginning to think my wish won't be met, although I still think it's the best time to go. I think we're looking at June next year. And I think it'll be a short, sharp campaign, and I'm sure I'm convinced. I just can't see how we're not going to win it. I'm worried that the European citizens will have had their vote withdrawn from them by skullduggery from Westminster. I don't trust them as far as I could throw them. But we shall see. We shall see. So, my friends and fellow nationalists, that is coming towards the end of my little stint here. I want to get back out into the nice Polish sunshine and have another nice Polish beer or two. Only it leaves for me to tell you to look after yourselves and to remind you that tomorrow to listen into the Sunday interview where I've got my dear friend and my ex-Member of Parliament, wonderful lady, Kirsten Oswald, who was the Member of Parliament, the best Member of Parliament that East Renfrewshire's ever had. You could say she was a rose surrounded by two thorns. We had Murphy on one side, now she's got this Masterton Tory on the other, and she was the rose in the middle. And she was the best, hardest working Member of Parliament that East Renfrewshire's ever had. And she's a lovely person, and I'm looking forward to introducing you to her and letting you hear in this interview, because she's a special friend of mine. I've got a lot of time and respect for her, and so I ask you to listen to that on Sunday at noon, and I will be back to you again from sunny Poland this time next week. And until that time, you take care now. Bye.